Trump is testing the norms of objectivity in journalism, said the New York Times in 2016. But even after the press abandoned objectivity, it didn't stop Mr. Trump from beating Hillary Clinton in the election. So now we have the 2020 update for press coverage. Joe Biden must never be asked a tough question.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
We got one vanilla, one chocolate.
Until COVID-19, it would have been unthinkable for a presidential candidate to go through an entire campaign avoiding questions. Trump is testing the norms of objectivity in journalism, said the New York Times in 2016. But even after the press abandoned objectivity, it didn't stop Mr. Trump from beating Hillary Clinton in the election. So now we have the 2020 update for press coverage. Joe Biden must never be asked a tough question.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
We got one vanilla, one chocolate.
Until COVID-19, it would have been unthinkable for a presidential candidate to go through an entire campaign avoiding questions. Right now, those questions have to do with the deals Hunter Biden made with politically connected business partners overseas, often while traveling with his father on Air Force Two.
I've heard Joe Biden say that he's never discussed business with Hunter. That is false.
The elder Mr. Biden claims recent revelations are just Russian disinformation.
This has nothing to do with the intelligence community or Russian disinformation. If it was, I would know that. So to be clear, it's not.
But he's never said that the texts and emails exposed are phony or that the laptop isn't his son's.
In that email, there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden.
He's never said it because the media hasn't pressed him on it. To the contrary, social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter even closed their platforms to a New York Post story reporting the news.
Last night, the Republican House Judiciary Committee posted the story on their website, a government website. And this morning, Twitter has censored it.
It's only because the president put the issue front and center during the final debate that it's becoming the elephant in the room. But every time it comes up, Mr. Biden deflects.
The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up questions.
If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Of course, the press's see-no-evil approach to Mr. Biden is nothing new. Remember when Tara Reade, former Senate staffer, accused the former vice president of having sexually assaulted her?
When I pulled away, he pulled back. And he looked at me like kind of almost annoyed. And he said, "Come on, man, I heard you liked me."
Gone was the horrendous treatment that Brett Kavanaugh received. In fact, the New York Times didn't even bring up the Biden accusation for 19 days.
Do you still believe Tara Reade?
Well, first off, let me say I plan on supporting and helping the VP Joe Biden in defeating Trump. There's obviously parts of what she has said that has been cooperated.
Mr. Biden is asked very little about his policies. Instead, press conferences have a tendency to become mutual hate fests about just how bad the president did.
Why isn't Joe Biden angrier about all of this?
Getting down in the gutter like the president does, saying things that I'd be inclined if we were behind a barn somewhere, would be a different thing. But that's not the job of a president.
Under any definition of fairness, you can't keep asking Mr. Trump about white supremacy while studiously avoiding asking Mr. Biden about his own statements. Yet that's exactly what happens.
Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia.
But if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Probably the best summary of the new Trump journalism comes from Mark Hemingway of Real Clear Investigations. After a news conference where the press handed up softballs to the vice president, he tweeted that watching the press corps handle Mr. Biden was like watching someone make sure a 3-year-old wins Candyland.
4 more years of Georgia, he is going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
From digital disruption to the rapid changes within the workforce, business leaders understand the world is more volatile than ever.